It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Yes, we got the monitor, we got the console, we got the gamer, and we got the game to put them all to the test. We are talking Far Cry this morning, and obviously we've been looking at Far Cry 6, but this is a franchise that is steeped in history, that has a lot of fans, that has evolved as well, but it's all about the open world and how much fun you can have. And you were saying 100 hours of gameplay.
Oh, easily, yeah. I think if you play all the features, you play co-op, you go through the story mode, you try on different difficulties, you could quite easily.
Okay, you can pre-order a sausage dog, which for me, that you had me at a low. That's all you should have led with that.
Yeah, if you pre-order the game, it comes with this sausage dog that's, you know, like when dogs are paralyzed from the legs down, and it comes with like a little wheelchair, and then like the crocodile, the alligator, you can like sick them, you know,
100%.
with this.
A sausage dog it's got a deep bark, it attacks your ankles. It can be a useful weapon in the revolution. Let's talk about the game. It way back 2004. That's actually it's had some legs.
So Far Cry, so Far Cry's been around for a very long time, and it was actually a really definitive game for a couple of reasons. When 2004 came out, that Far Cry that was originally released was by a company called Crytek, and they released an engine called the Cry engine, which is this big open world engine that not anybody had seen before. It was just it was beautiful. So what you're seeing now is the anniversary trailer. It had this great tropical island. We hadn't seen games like that. Remember, shooters were always in these dark corridors. They were like really like boring. And it was this really beautiful open world game. So it kind of captured the imagination of a lot of people.
And also crazy. There was something crazy about Far Cry.
Yeah, you could do whatever you wanted. Like you could like ramp cars over. You could do a mission stealth. You could do a mission like all out guns blazing, which was wild. And then 4 years later, Ubisoft actually acquired Far Cry as a and everybody knows Assassin's Creed and stuff. No, I don't know how much.
A lot.
But for a lot. But South Africans will care about this because Far Cry 2 came out and it was set in Africa. And one of the most exciting, like on the Serengeti Plains, and that was the new open world setting. It was so beautiful, like and it had a lot of Afrikaans voice actors. So if South Africa,
villains, I'm sure.
You're
always villains.
Always villains, but it was all about taking out mercenaries, and it had all these realistic gun physics. So like your gun could jam. So they try to go more serious with Far Cry 2 and more realistic, but I think that kind of what kind of killed it. So you could start like a fault fire, and then you'd have to do it at like a part of the base that you were going to burn at like where the wind would go, and you'd follow the wind patterns, and like it was just too intense, man.
That could go horribly wrong.
It could totally go horribly wrong. But then they started making Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 came out in 2012, probably my favorite Far Cry.
Okay.
And it had one of my most interesting villains in the story. And it was about these tourists. It's very simple. They went back to the Far Cry 1 roots, tropical island. I love that location.
Yeah.
You know, like coral reefs, this really...
Well, I suppose because you can have a lot of different environments in one.
Yeah, very wild villain as well. And like the Antwoord was in the soundtrack, Skrillex was in the soundtrack. It was just this really high-paced, fast game, which was really cool. And I think it captured the hearts and minds of a lot of like Far Cry. It went back to the roots of Far Cry.
Well, I think it also it's where pop culture is, and I think that's where Far Cry's got it right. Very much like Fortnite, it kind of goes beyond just gaming to capture an essence of pop culture and be really attractive.
Yeah, it felt like a reality TV show.
Yeah,
in a way. So then Far Cry 4 came out in 2014, and they doubled down on that villain. Having a really strong villain became like a big cornerstone. Like, what are you doing on this open world? How are you going to take it out?
What's motivating?
Yeah, what's your motivation? So Pagan Min was the big villain in Far Cry 4, and he was set in the Himalayas, brand new location, and he was probably a fan favorite, actually, villain. So like, if you haven't played Far Cry 4 and you were kind of turned off by the landscape and you want something tropical, please play it. It is an excellent game with an excellent villain. Then in 2018, we moved on to Far Cry 5, which was Probably the most interesting. I actually really hope they leaned more into this. But it's in Montana. It's in America, in like the small backwoods town, and the big villain is this preacher who is kind of taken over, like indoctrinated everybody to do his own cult, and he's like growing drugs, essentially. And you have to take him out and be like the good guy. And like, what a weird location for a Far Cry game. But the American wildlife landscape is also exceptional.
Yeah.
Grizzly bears and the extremely interesting characters that you meet along the way, these eccentric villains were great. And then now we've met all the way to today.
Far Cry 6.
We've got Far Cry 6 with this really eccentric character, obviously played by the guy from Breaking Bad. I keep on, his name always like eludes me, but like having a villain that is that strong goes back to the roots, and we're going from that, the big villain, and the tropical island all in one, just like that.
Absolutely beautiful. It seems like edging closer and closer to the perfect game. One thing is for sure, we got the perfect, I called it the Holy Trinity earlier, the monitor, the game, and the console, and what I love about this is you're getting the most out of this technology and the gameplay. You can let us know how you feel about the Far Cry franchise history. Are you an original? Are you a new convert? Let us know on the Expresso Morning Show Facebook page.